If you've clicked on this video, then strap yourselves in. You know what you were signing up for. It's rotation time, and oh boy, there is a lot of stuff to talk about here. I definitely am not even covering everything as well. Hey guys, this is Gamer Cow. We're talking about the Pokemon TCG 2007 rotation here. So we're moving into the Diamond and Pearl format, 2008 stuff, and this rotates 5 sets. We're going into Holon Phantoms on, so the last couple have been small, they've been just preset rotations and not always a ton of impactful stuff. No, this one changes everything. There's so many things going here, and it's kind of impossible to talk about absolutely everything. But just in case you want a quick overview of the sets themselves, I will go ahead and just show them here. I'm not going to go over and look at every single card because of course that's going to take far too long. We've got lots of other stuff to go on and do, but you know, there's lots and lots of cards here, so it's at least worth looking. But man, there's going to be a huge impact off of this. So yeah, a bunch of promo stuff here as well. Like I think a couple of these may have been put in twice or whatnot, but whatever, right? There's some of them that are worth noting, but I may have missed some as well because it's really hard to actually keep track of that. Most people don't keep track of the promo stuff that gets rotated. They just keep track of what actually comes out of the core sets, like what sets were rotated. So it's kind of hard to keep track of that sort of thing. Anyway, this is stuff that's not going to rotate. Funnily enough, double full heal is in Diamond Pearl base. I don't know exactly what that's all about, but I guess they were still sort of trying to do double battle stuff, but not really. Dual Ball was in the, which one was it? Crystal Guardians. Energy Recycle System was in Power Keepers. Great Ball was in Power Keepers and I think Crystal Guardians. Master Ball has just come back in Power Keepers, so has like Pokénav, I think. No, it's Crystal Guardians, close enough. Super Scoop Up in Diamond and Pearl here, looking very cute as well. Celios was in Crystal Guardians. Holon Mento was in Dragon Frontier, as was Mr. Stone. Professor Birch was in Power Keepers. Cosmos Discovery, as much as I would want to get rid of it, is in Holon Phantoms. Elm's Training Method was in like Crystal Guardians or something, I think. But no, it was Dragon Frontiers because it's got the horrible yellow art, right? Didn't take that one for that result. Scott's in Power Creepers, TV Reporter was in Dragon Frontiers, the Crystal Shard and Strength Charm are both in Dragon Frontiers as well, and then Double Rainbow Energy is in a Pop Series actually. I just took the Emerald one because I didn't want to get the promo out, but it's in like Pop Series 3, so it's an important mainstay of the first Diamond Pearl bit. Scramble Energy and all the Holon stuff are in Dragon Frontiers, and Boost Energy I think is also in Power Keepers as well as Frontiers. So these, especially the Special Energy, could be kind of important. The Holon one's not so much. Although, having said that, Holon Firefighting is still really good in X format because, you know, getting rid of your weakness is really nice. So, like, the Special Energy are really good. Maybe the Basic Search could be good. Celios gets outclassed pretty quickly. A lot of the supporters aren't really going to be that impactful, but you never know. Right, so not everything we got to see because we didn't pull all of it, but let's just go over some of it anyway. Raichu EX would have been really nice because it has Power Shot, the same attack as what Rayquaza did, except it also had Raichu to reduce damage done to any Raichu EX by your opponent's EX Pokemon. Also Zero Retreat. So it would have been a really good sniping thing, we just didn't get it. Cleffa, I still hate the fact that I didn't get Clefable this round to get this done like one last time, get it used. Shuffle Draw 6 would be really good in a format where you can't attack going first. Yeah, we'll get to that ruling stuff later on. Yeah, would have been really nice, but it rotates. Crobat and Crobat EX also rotate here. The Crobat EX is pretty solid for putting damage counters around and doing some special condition abuse, which the actual Crobat over here kind of likes, because you can use it to supplement your damage, prevent the opponent playing trainer cards next turn, which is obviously very strong. However, it doesn't do a ton of damage, but target attack is also really good for it, because you can snipe the damage counter and then target attack that mon. HP totals are getting a bit big for this now, but it still would have been really good. Arcanine EX, the whole React engine goes because it was specific to Legend Maker, but Flame Swirl is still a very strong attack even now the numbers are sort of going up. This kills anything that's not like a stage 2 basically in one shot, so still would have been pretty powerful, and Overrun is a good attack as well. Politoed EX we never got to see, but we got to see the other shell of what the deck would have been with Matt doing hit and run stuff. Doesn't work anymore because the fossils give up prizes now, but it still, it was available, it could have been used, would have been decent. Machamp, the React engine, once again, this can do 80, 100 damage if you put the 2 React energy on it, which is good. The format also has a lot of special energy, so Derail is just a good attack. Victory Bell is gusting on stage 2 specifically, but it's still gusting and it's an automatic gust. We actually lose the other gust option here as well, so this would have been nice to have. Basically all of our gusting goes, which is kind of fun. Slowking, item search, gets you Cessation Crystal if we had more access to them. The Holon engine stuff as a whole kind of goes, but the Magnemite, Magneton, and similarly the Voltorb Electrode. Cast Form stays around, so we will be able to use that, but these energy providers now go. Muck, its ability lock whilst it's in the active, specifically power lock, not body lock. But yeah, it wasn't really going to be that good, but we just didn't want to mess with it this time. Gengar, kind of wish I could have used this a bit more, but it's just a little bit hard to justify the counter drops, right? It's 2 energy for it is hard to get out, so yeah, one Psychic put 2 damage counters, but you need to react energy specifically, and then you spread 4, which is a good amount to spread, but eh. Steelix is nice for the was nice for the Blastoise, but it would have been good for Meganium decks as well, just being able to use this with a Holon engine so you can do tons of damage. Wheezing, the Typhlosion actually stays in format because it was a promo printed within the last cycle, so having this plus the Typhlosion is a knockout on anything that you want. Does knock itself out as well, of course, but still, that was a fun dex to see, so, you know. Blissey, kind of wish I could have used this a little bit more, but it's hard to justify the slots in the deck half the time. It's Pokemon Center, and that's a really good trait when you've got Scramble energies and stuff that you can use too. Scizor EX, this did very well at Worlds apparently for this particular year. There is going to be a Scizor in the next format that this could have synergized with as well. Crosscut is just really good, right? And Data Perception can put it up to 120, which is still solid, plus Powers can then let it KO the new stuff too. Lapras, Tapu Lele, or Lumineon as it is nowadays, yeah, Supporter Search is good. I kind of wish I'd used this a bit more, but the decks I played just didn't synergize with it, so oh well. Ditto, and also the Pseudo Widow down here. Different types to let you copy the opponent's attack. Just fun stuff to have around. This would have been pretty solid to keep, you know. Bunch of EVs. I don't remember exactly what the next EV does, but there is an Evolution deck that comes out in the next format, so Energy Evolution obviously would have been very good for that. Call for Family also pretty good. There might be Call for Family on the new one though, so maybe this one isn't missing, but whatever. All of the Evolution EXs rotate, so Vaporeon for the Disruption, but we're getting Disruption next set, so you know, that's going to be fine. Jolteon for the damage counter spread, we're going to try and use this one last time before it goes. Flareon for its Burn Confuse stuff, really good for the Flariados and everything obviously. Which we'll get to later. The Espeon EX for devolution stuff, and also punishing the opponent for playing too many tools down is pretty useful. And Umbreon for gusting. Another gust option is going away, so yeah, kind of nice to have them around, but we just don't anymore. Porygon 2, both of them go. This one was really good for Pepper, he managed to reuse all the tools, but spoilers, most of the tools go away as well, so I guess it wouldn't have been that good, but it was very good for the format, so not too bad. And then back up, draw until you have 6. This will not be missed for too long, but it is still important to note that it is going away, so yeah, there's a draw option. Dragonite, one of the many energy acceleration options that are going here. This one accelerates Lightning for the discard. Lightning doesn't usually get that many good acceleration options, so this is nice to have, but obviously it's going away. Mewtwo, really wish I could use this as well, but just didn't have a deck that could play it. Just move all your basic energy around to anywhere that you want is really solid, so would have been nice. Mew we never got to see because nobody pulled it, but this is going away. Would have been amazing to have. Any attack in play, you could just copy it, so yay. Meganium, I used this, it was great. accelerating grass energy. Just didn't get to keep using it, I guess. So there's that. Typhlosion EX we did see once. I don't know if we saw it on the video recordings. I forget what was played, but yeah, this is mass fire acceleration from the deck, which is great. There's actually like an Arcanine that's coming out, which would have liked this as well. For alligators, we didn't get to see the EX, which maybe is for the best, I don't know. Yeah, any other powers or bodies except EXs don't get played, so maybe it was a good thing we didn't see this, I don't know. But like good spread damage and extra bonus damage to those who have been damaged already is nice. And then Intimidating Fang reducing your opponent's output, really good against spread decks, so this would have been nice against the Empoleon stuff. Like Prinplup gets wrecked by this, that would have been good. And yeah, it goes away, so oh well. Ariados, we saw this with Swalot, but it obviously wasn't as effective because it was a free energy attack instead of a 1. 70 damage if you pair it with the Flareon would have been good. Ampharos I'm noting partly because there's another Ampharos coming out soon that would have been nice with it, but also because Energy Connect is just a good power. It's a shame the attack on this wasn't very good, but if you're playing an Ampharos deck that has like another one in there, this kind of power is really good to be able to shuffle your stuff around and then not lose all your energy, right? So, good times. Apom, searchable draw card. Matt used this quite a lot in his control stuff, so it's worth noting. Only a couple of the unknowns have made it onto here from Unseen Forces. This one lets you copy the opponent's supporter cards from their discard pile. This is something we're going to see with Gardevoir actually in Secret Wonders, but as a ability, not an attack. And then this one let you evolve one of your Pokemon. It was for a Psychic Energy, and again, I didn't pull it, so that's why we didn't see it from me, but still very cool cards. There's a bunch of other unknowns that maybe could have been good, but we don't have time for that. Girafarig stops stops both players' actives from using Pokepowers whilst it's in play, so that was very good against Jirachi. Would also still be good against some of the baby evolution things and whatnot now, so worth noting. Foresight is also good to set your own deck up. Dunsparce, we have another version of this, but Tripping Turn is always still nice though. Jawtooth from the bottom of the deck, there's a Sableye that does this now, but again, Tripping Turn. Macago, legal cheating is no longer legal. Smooth Over is annoying, that's all I'm going to say of it. It's not even that, it's just like, it's been annoying because I haven't been able to run it, because I've only got one of it, but whatever. Lets you top deck whatever you want, so that's pretty cool. Octillery I'm noting here, even though it didn't really see much play, because I think only Leo ended up having it. He traded into it, and we couldn't really see it very much. Yeah, it stops the opponent from retreating. That's kind of insane for a control deck, to be honest. People are up in arms at the... well, not up in arms, but like they're a bit scared of the Snorlax coming out now. Yeah, this is the same thing. It's really cool. Houndoom, thank God for that. Trainer Lock, not quite gone entirely, but definitely on the way out with this thing being away. We have incentives to not play a full bench with the Dusknoir, so it's not as if we're free of that sort of thing, and probably shouldn't be free of that sort of thing. But yeah, it's we don't get Trainer Locked for it now, because this is old Trainer Lock. It would still block stadiums, which is stupid. Stantler, another control tool that would have been nightmarish with the Houndoom. Push away, just discarding a trainer card from the opponent's hand after you look at it is nuts. Speargull, this never saw play during its actual time, but if it stayed in the format, it would see play with Garchomp coming out in the next set, I think? Pretty sure it's the next set, where it hits for plus 40 if you have a basic energy that's super effective against the opponent. So it would hit for 110, and that's actually really solid. So this Smeargle would have seen play with that card, so that's why I'm noting it here. Tyranitar, not a great card, we didn't see a ton of it, but it would be energy acceleration for any type that you want, combines with the Delta Mantine or the Celio that we're going to see down here actually, where you just put a damage counter on that card and then top deck the energy from your discard that you want. So with the acceleration now extending to Dark and Metal as well, this would have actually been very solid. Speaking of Tyranitar, the EX benefits from the fact that Basic Dark is in format. This card was already fine, if clunky, in the Dragtrode engine that Pepper used it in, but now that there's Basic Dark as well, oh, that deck would have been so much stronger. So yeah, pretty good. Lugia lost a lot of its luster with the rotation of Blastoise, but you could have still played this with like Blaziken or even Dragonite. Uh, if you wanted to, would have been a bit more expensive to get going, but it would still been viable, so not too bad. Oh, I don't know. This would have been with Tyranitar or something, I guess, and we just didn't get the thing. Apparently, Togekiss and regular Ho-Oh from future sets is actually going to be a playable archetype as well. So maybe we'll see Rainbow Burn come back, who knows. 2 Ludicolo go. This one, of course, drawing a card in Circular Steps is kind of nice. We've got Circular Steps in Grumpig, but the draw card aspect is what made it really good too. Ludicargo being a deck. And then here is more anti-spread for this one. You can use this against like the Primplop and whatnot to heal all the damage that you've been taking. So it's kind of neat. Could have been decent, but obviously it's going away. This Shiftry, there's a lot of Shiftry EX and whatnot going around at the moment, so it's kind of noteworthy at least that Shiftry is a good line. Evolutionary Fan lets you just return one of your Pokemon back to the deck, which is very solid actually. Would have been decent to use this alongside Super Scoop Ups and whatnot to make sure that you could keep getting your Pokemon back into the deck as you need to, so that you don't leave big prize liabilities in play like these guys. Gardevoir has got a lot of noteworthy stuff going for it at the moment, because there's obviously the EX is really strong, and then Psyshadow is decent, which this pairs with pretty well, and also Secret Wanders is going to be crazy for Gardevoir, so it's worth noting all of them. Heal Dance is a nice ability to have with Psyshadow, because you put the 2 damage counters down and then you heal them with this one, so it's a nice one-off tech in there. Could also be good to have this as a one-off tech in the Gardilade deck, so that you can give them more longevity, basically. This Gardevoir Energy Jump is actually pretty solid in its own right, and Black Magic is a good bench deterrent. Stops the opponent going too crazy, but Energy Jump was a nice ability. Glad we got to use this instead this time, rather than the Alakazam not getting to do it. Shedinja, it would be good for the hit and run decks that are in this format. Stuff like Manaphy, there's a bunch of like new cards coming out that switch the active out. Even Deoxys Delta would have been fine, right? The hit and run stuff. So we're losing a hit and run target. That's whatever, you know. Nobody pulled Hariyama, but if they did, this card would have been kind of obnoxious. Locking a stadium card in play just by being the active is pretty annoying. Knock off discarding cards in the opponent's hand all the time is pretty annoying. Pivot Throw would have been strong. Yeah, you gotta watch the increase in damage that you take, but the actual attack was very good for its time, so yeah, pretty solid. Nosepass, another gusting option. If it's active, you flip to gust, so yeah, okay, but it was played and is still worth noting. Delcatty, again, the React engine mostly, but this alongside the Huntail and Gorbis would have been a deck that we just didn't get to see play, mostly because I didn't get the Delcatty, otherwise I'd have played it. Sableye, mostly didn't see play because it was me and Leo were the only ones who had it, but Limitation with basic Dark Energy in the format, yeah, very, very good card. So glad that we don't actually get it at the same time, to be honest. This would have been annoying. Yeah, Night Vision making it so that you could see the opponent's hand, and then if you see that they're stuck without playing a supporter card, you stop them from playing supporter cards, and you just play control. Medicham, we might see this from Pepper. He is looking into it for Medicham with the Diamond Pearl one this format, so maybe we'll see it, who knows. Yeah, Wise Aura would have stopped both players from using Poké Powers whilst this thing is active, excluding EXs, so it's the same thing as the what's its face, the Feraligatr, except it only stops powers, it doesn't stop bodies, so you know. And Pure Power, good damage spread for the cost, I guess, and Sky Kick is really good against fighting resistant stuff, right? You just do more damage than they're resisting. Good riddance to Manectric. We already kind of quote-unquote banned this anyway because it was far too oppressive for the format, but my god, this card was stupid, and Disconnect with the old ruling stopping stadiums as well still would have been extremely annoying here, so definitely glad to be gotten rid of that. Plusle, noteworthy because Call for Family is a decent thing. You can argue Taurus is just better now, and it probably is, but even so, there's a lot of power-based things coming in as well, so Positive Spark would have still been decent. Minun is a control tool and nothing more. It was played in like the Mew lock deck that we didn't get to see because we didn't get Mew, but Sniff Out is a crazy attack. You know, put any one card in your discard pile into hand is really solid. Roselia, didn't get to see. Again, control tool more than anything. I think you can still play this with Empoleon, so maybe we could see it, but my Empoleon deck probably isn't going to play it unless I actually play Rose Red. Flake Poison is just Gust plus Poison on an attack. That's all you really need to know. The Reactive Aroma doesn't really do anything because you need a ton of React energy in play and it just heals a little bit. But it's all about switching and then, yeah, causing poison. So you force an unfavorable thing in. Wailord is only noteworthy because there is a new Wailord that's going to be coming out that has 200 HP. It is absolutely wild. But if the Wailord itself here has any React energy on it, your water Pokemon would have 0 retreat, which means the Wailord goes from a 4 retreat to a 0, and that's the main thing. Rely on Friends is very expensive for what it does, but it could still be reasonable with Scramble Energy and whatnot. Camerupt. We didn't get to see it, even though it was in a theme deck, because we just didn't dingy enough of the stuff for it. Split Bomb is decent. We've seen it with the Executor, how good Split Bomb can be. Backburner just lets you accelerate energy from the discard. This would have been the main thing I'd have been looking at it for. But yeah, I had to take the other deck at the time. Nobody really got enough of it, I don't think. Flygon EX, we saw this last week with, or last round with Psy. Like, he managed to trade into it. And it's a very solid card, to be honest. Lots and lots of damage output from this. So, it's cool. I like it. Altaria EX, Stage 2 evolutions rather than EX protection is a bit more important here. So, taking less damage from Stage 2s is good. And Dragon Mist is fine. We are going to still see other dragon types that are weak to colorless, so yeah, it's okay. Lunatone, Solrock and Lunatone do basically rotate out, so like all of these go, but yeah, the only reason we didn't see this deck is because when I built it, I found it was boring as hell and really flippy and stupid, so whatever. But Target Beam, if you have all 4 Solrock in play, does 60 for 2, which was pretty nuts at the time, to be honest. Also, it has 80 HP because of the Solrock, and it gives your Solrock 0 retreat, so this 2 retreat costing doesn't matter. Reflected Beam is fine, like it can only snipe to the bench, so you usually are only playing like 2 Lunatone down and all 4 Solrock, but it also got a massive benefit from the Soulshade Lunatone over here, being able to block out fire Pokemon's Poke Powers, and the Solrock from being able to block out colorless Pokemon's powers. These were just played in general, like they weren't even necessarily played for the Lunasol deck, but they obviously do help that deck as well, so bit of a shame, I guess, to lose that. Then we've got Banette EX. There's only one of these pulled, that's why we haven't seen it, but Shady Move is really good, and Shadow Chant, although this Pokemon is frail, this does 90 for 2 energy, so long as you've filled your discard with supporters, which guess what, most decks are still playing like 14 to 16 supporter cards, right? So it's not too hard to get 6 of them in the discard to do 90 damage with this thing. Absolutely insane card that we just didn't get to see because we didn't pull it. Dusclopses are notable because of Dusknoir. I reckon we have a better one than this, but Powerful Hand is still respectable, doing 7 damage counters, given you have a decent enough hand size. And, well, if all else fails, Psychic Removal could be very funny, right? But, yeah, no, this could have been a powerful attacking option in a Dusknoir-like attack deck, but I think the new ones kind of outclass it. We've talked about these guys. I like the Salamence. I don't think this is a meta-changing card or anything, but I did play it, so I might as well note it here. Fire Dance searches your discard for fire energy and just accelerates it anywhere, which is pretty good because all of the non-Delta Salamence also use fire energy, so you can still just use it as acceleration for those guys. Delta Blast was really good with the Metagross that we're going to see right here, because you could accelerate that metal energy back. Might be a little bit better now that basic metal is a thing, so we're not locked into having just 4 and the stadium to potentially work with, so that's kind of neat. But yeah, 100 damage is still fine, decent numbers, and it resists fire, which is something that Infernape would really dislike. So, although I think Infernape still 2-shots it, so meh. Speaking of Salamence that resist fire, we didn't get to see this one because nobody pulled it, but this makes all of your non-EX Pokemon have 0 retreat, which is kind of nuts, and its attacks are fine if you can accelerate to it, which we can. We have Blaziken that can do it. Bright Flame is still decent enough damage, and Flame Jet is good sniping, so this would have been good, we just didn't pull it. The Metagross I kind of mentioned, but it's also Psychic Acceleration from the discard as well. We do have Gardevoir that can accelerate from the deck, so maybe it's not as relevant now, but this is still... It was very, very good for all the formats it was available for, and it got jammed into all sorts of decks, and I really liked it. Metagross also gets hit with the Delta Species one though, so this goes, and Meta Knight as a deck we weren't going to play again anyway, but Delta Control is still really good as well. Lets you bottom deck 3 cards as well, so if you're not shuffle drawing all the time or like shuffling with Great Balls and whatnot, you can know that you're not going to draw into certain tools, which is pretty powerful. Crush and Burn just works with a ton of energy accelerant stuff, so very, very good. Latias Star, I don't think we ended up seeing much because Leo took it out of the LBS deck when he played it because he didn't like it, but Shooting Star, if you were attacking EXs, you could do 150 damage to them. I think now the more relevant one technically would be the Latios, because this does 150 to stage 2s, which is still enough to one-shot all of them, even in the new era. So I think actually Latios would have been really good, but nobody pulled this one. I wanted it for the Meganium deck, just didn't happen. Rayquaza Star, I believe Matt pulled, and obviously never used. This is anti-EX, but was very powerful for its time. Discard all 4 energy that's on the thing and do 100 to each of the opponent's EXs. That one-shots the weaker EXs and does, like, you know, 2/3 to the strongest ones, so there is that. Rayquaza gets a fair bit of love in here because I think the Delta one would have been good specifically because Empoleon was really good as we keep going here. So, like, Lightning Storm doesn't kill it in one shot, but we keep the Hold On energy, and Power Blow just does increasing amounts of good damage to the Empoleon. Starts off at 40, then 2 energy it does 50, etc, etc. So, you know, it's cheap, efficient, but it also resists water, so it resists the Empoleon's active attacks, which is the main bit there. This Ray also resists water, and it's also pretty cool for that. Dragon Boost, just being able to move all the basic energy. I mean, we've got Blaziken, so we could still use this if we had it. So, you know, it is like 5 energy for 100, which is a lot, but it's not too hard to get that much energy in play when you're using discard accelerants and such. Delcatty is in format, so, you know. Jirachi finally goes here. This card was exceptional, and we kind of tapered off of it for a while, but that's mostly because it doesn't fit in Delta decks, right, for the most part. And when we started using the cast form for Delta Draw engines and whatnot, you can't really use this at the same time. But this card is ludicrous, and I don't remember if it's this format or the format after, but I know there's another Jirachi that comes out that's like a 0 energy attack that does something really cool for this sort of thing. So yeah, we're going to see this again. We are eventually going to see this again, this exact sort of card, but for trainers instead of any card when Gen 7 comes into play, but that's a very long time away. I will note this Deoxys because there is the potential that some decks can just like flood 10 plus energy into play, especially with double rainbows and the like. So this Deoxys could have been a good countermeasure to that sort of deck. It's maybe a bit too weak starting at this amount of damage, but still, it was a pretty powerful attack against the right type of deck. Problem is, decks like that don't tend to see play in these sorts of formats, so whatever. This Deoxys, on the other hand, is a bit more applicable, because Psyburst you can do 110 to the standard free energy attackers, so just a really solid thing in general. 110 is not what it used to be, obviously, but it's still enough to take care of a lot of cards. So, on a basic, solid attack. And then we get to the trainers. There's not as many trainers because there's not as many that have been printed, and a lot of them have actually been reprinted, which is kind of crazy. But let's just go through them anyway. Energy Charge, I'm pretty sure this is the last time it comes back until Special Charge is a thing in Gen 6, where then it doesn't require a coin flip, and it did actually see play. This one, this was the main way that you could recycle special energy cards, but it was never important enough to actually use. But still, if you're lucky enough, coin flips are a bitch, as we know, but if you're lucky enough, you could shuffle special energy back into the deck, and it was really cool. Hold-on Transceiver is huge. A lot of the hold-on energy, hold-on, not energy, the engine does go away alongside this, but Adventurer and Mentor are still in format. One was in Hold on Phantoms, Mentor was in Dragon Frontiers. So we still would have had the two best cards to use Transceiver with, and yeah, we lose our supporter recovery, so rip. Pokemon Reversal gets rotated. This surprised me a lot, actually. It gets reprinted in the Heart Gold Soul Silver era for the last time, and then, you know, Catcher happens. But yeah, I was surprised that this is not legal in Gen 4. So gusting is not necessarily a thing, which is very intriguing. Love to see what... I have to value some gust options when they come up, because I'm sure there will be some in Gen 4. Field Worker, this technically saw play with Matt. I guess he really wanted that draw free. Yeah, but it's only printed in Ledger Maker, so it goes away. Hold on Farmer, all the hold on stuff, as I said. Farmer is actually going to be replaced immediately by Night Maintenance, so this is not like that big of a loss. But with the hold on engine, it was recoverable, and I did use that effect quite a lot. So also it recovers 6 cards instead of just 3, so good consolidation of stuff there. Last was played in not the streamed games, but in the midweek stuff with Pepper. Actually, he played it with the Delcatty deck because he wanted to get all the energy out. I tried this with Electro DX too, and it just didn't work. But yeah, he wanted to get all the energy out so he could then discard them with Delcatty EX's Constrain, put it down to 6 cards in hand, and then upstream for massive damage. So he had a pretty good use for it. So that's kind of neat. Researcher is a way of searching metal energy, which isn't like the most important card to get now, but it can search the special version, so that's fine. Still, you know, Delta decks, what few Delta decks there could still be, lose their like main Evo Searcher and stuff, I guess. Just play Baby Search though, much better, because that's coming out next set. Then Scientist, Copycat is generally the better version of this, but again, it was the whole engine being searchable was the main reason why this was so good. Discard a card and then draw until you match the opponent's hand size. Shuffle, draw until you match them is usually better, but again, it's a one-off because you can search it. It was okay. Mary's Request, if you don't play stage 2s, then draw free is obviously just good. So yeah, just a raw draw free going away. Mr. Briney's Compassion didn't really make an impact this time around, but very, very good card. And with the HP totals going up, and with the fact of EXs are no longer in the format, you could pick up a level X with this, and level Xs can have like 160 HP, so I guarantee you this would have been played next format. Wally's Training, surprising to go away. I would have thought this would have been printed in Emerald, but obviously not. Not Emerald, Power Keepers. But yeah, it wasn't, so whatever. Support that lets you search your deck and evolve straight away. Yeah, it's fine. Maybe could have been used with Empoleon decks going forward, because Brimplop has a 1 energy attack, you could use it that way. But even in then, I've not seen it in any of the lists from the 07 Worlds format, so I don't think it's that impactful. Stadium cards, there's a lot that goes away here, actually. Curse Stone, anti-power is pretty solid, but this would have been good to keep for the Empoleon deck, alongside a few others that don't rely on powers. Full Flame for the burn decks, just in case. I think there might be like a Heatran that comes out that does this or something, but still, and, you know, crazy stuff there. Giant Stump is anti-bench, right? We have Dusknoir that does this kind of now, and maybe does it better, arguably, but yeah, Giant Stump is just a really good way of limiting the opponent's stuff. We see it with Collapse Stadium nowadays, that even with that being 4 instead of 3 bench, still sees play. Very, very strong card. Power Tree, used exactly once in my Meganium deck, but it maybe could have been used a little bit more in certain decks in the upcoming formats. So yeah, it's a noteworthy loss. With basic metal and stuff being in play now as well, maybe we could have seen it in like that kind of deck. Space Center was generally anti Lunasol, so it wasn't really that incredible, but still, you know, there's the occasional basic that it works against us. That Strange Cave is unfortunate to lose because we would have liked to have played Fossils, but, you know, not have to deal with a fossil mechanic, I guess. This was still too clunky though. It's impossible to make fossils really good, I guess, but they have a supporter coming out in like Fossil Excavation Kit, which maybe could have helped, I don't know. But still, Strange Cave being able to cheat them into play would have been nice. High and low pressure system go here as well. This high pressure system gives your fire waters less retreat, which is nice, and low pressure system isn't as good. It gives you grass lightnings extra HP. Whoop-de-doo, they're not amazing, but high pressure system's actually pretty solid for the opening turns. But except you can't play trainer cards or stadiums and stuff going first now, so whatever, I don't know, not so good. And then to the tools, because Unseen Forces rotates, and that's where like all the tools come from. Curse Powder, if the active evolution that this is on gets KO'd by damage, you put 3 damage counters on the attacker, so that's kind of neat. Would have been pretty solid for some decks going forward. I used this with Ledion actually, and it was pretty good, so, you know, fun midweek deck for that. Energy Root, plus 20 HP, can't use Poke Powers, Poke Bodies. Obviously HP totals are getting really high, so giving them extra HP would have been even better, right? Imagine a Napoleon with 150 HP, pretty solid. Fluffy Berry is Floatstone, and it would just be Floatstone in Gen 4 format, so would have been absurd. But imagine putting this on a Dust Noir, right? Just having a 0 retreat thing, crazy. Protective Orb blocks weakness. This might not be as important now. Weakness is still obviously a thing, but with it not being ×2 unless you play the Stadium card coming out in the next set, maybe not as relevant, I don't know. Citrus Berry just heals 30. It's not Goldberry, that's for sure, but it would have still been fine. Two-shotting is going to be the name of the game, I think, for a lot of Gen 4, so having a way of recovering some HP, pretty good. Solid Rage, if you're able to play from being behind in prizes, this just does more damage, which is really good. 20 more is nice, right? So there's that. And then the 2 energy, the React energy obviously is only for its own engine, but we also lose Rainbow energy. Again, I don't even remember when this comes back. I don't remember seeing it in the next year. So we might lose Rainbow energy for quite a while, actually. Kind of weird. This has always been one of those where it's like it's rotated for one set and then it comes back. I don't think that's the case this time. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff which is going away, and this doesn't even cover everything either. There are plenty of cards that you could look at in this format and go, oh yeah, that would have been really good if we kept it. You know, like say Hitmontop maybe for damage spread stuff, Jinx for spreading said damage. There's potentially the Sunflora that for extra stuff. You know, there's just like you could go over this and go, oh yeah, but my boy Spoink is rotating. You know, and that's a sad day. And you'd probably be right, but we've got to cut this somewhere. So yeah, there's so much to talk about. Pokemon TCG is vast. That is obviously the takeaway here. Anywho, hopefully this rapid fire round has been entertaining at the very least. I've tried to keep it as brief as I can with going over how good these cards are, but as you can appreciate, that's a lot of stuff to talk about, so hopefully it's been informative. The next sets are going to be really good though, so I am not too worried about losing a whole ton of stuff here. We do still have a good draw, support engine and whatnot this time round, so it's not as if we're going to be building unusable decks, but the whole on engine going away is going to change how all of my stuff is built, so curious to see how that's going to impact everything. Anyway, thank you for watching, and until next time, where we'll go over the there's a couple of rule changes. Maybe I'll just do that in Dan Per 1 when we actually do the proper video for the battles and whatnot. That's probably the best time for it. So yeah, until then, we've taken the week off, as you've probably already noticed, and I've already said before, because Monster Hunter, basically. Monster Hunter came out and we were like, most of us want to play that, and also Pokemon Go as a set came out, so Pepper needed to work on the mod anyway, so we said we'll leave it. Alright, till next time though, take care.